In this video, I'm going to be talking about using the Sony a7S III and the Sony FX6 in a real-world video shoot and why I used each camera for different things. Here's the story. The project I was working on required photo and video for a meals program that operates in Melbourne, Australia. I've shot this meals program before, and in the past I've taken in big cameras and multiple cameras into this location to get a whole bunch of different creative shots and try to get the best video quality possible for this project. And as soon as I brought all that gear in, it became quite apparent quite quickly that I'd brought too much gear in and I was becoming quite a distraction to not only the guests, but also the volunteers at the location. One of the volunteers didn't really appreciate me setting a GoPro up in the kitchen and ended up taking the camera and then handing it back to me. And at that point, I realized less is more for a video shoot like this. So for this video shoot today, my main video camera was the Sony a7S III. And the main reason for this is it's small, it's compact, and it didn't draw too much attention to myself when I was getting the shots that I needed. The client also requested photo and video for this project, so having just one camera to use really did simplify the process as opposed to using the Sony FX6 to get the video and then another camera just to get photo. I'd be constantly swapping backwards and forwards, and for some people that might work for you, but for me, I'd much rather just have one camera in my hand to get the B-roll video and then the photos required for the project. The lens that I used was the Sony 24-105 f4, and I use this lens because I just find it so versatile for these types of video shoots. 24mm is wide enough on a full frame camera for the majority of shots that I would want to get when shooting wide, and then 105mm is telephoto enough for me to be able to stand back from whatever I'm recording, not be a distraction to the subject, and get the shot that I need. For a project like this, I don't really like using fixed prime lenses, mainly because it requires me to then get closer to the subject. And once I'm closer to the subject, they're then aware of me being there and then they'll start acting weird and I won't get the shot that I really want for my video. This project required me to get a bunch of different types of shots. So recording the chefs in the kitchen, the waiters waiting on tables, and also the guests enjoying their time at the meals program. All these B-roll shots also included a Tiffin Black Pro Mist 1/8 filter. That lens filter pretty much lives on this 24-105 f4 lens on my Sony cameras. So that's the a7S III and why I used it for this project. I also used the Sony FX6 and I used this for the piece to camera that I shot with Amy here. I did a couple of versions of this piece to camera. I used the Parrot teleprompter so Amy could read back the pre-approved script that had already been written out, and that just speeds things up so much faster than having someone ad-lib and talk to the camera and fumble their words and all that kind of stuff. Even when you have a script in front of you, you can sometimes fumble your words and you have to retake, and that's perfectly fine. But having the teleprompter was very helpful and sped up this process. I did a couple of takes. The first take was at an f4 and I didn't realize at the time, but the sun outside was coming in and out of clouds. And although we were inside, the sun was affecting the lighting conditions on the talent. So the first take was at f4 and then I thought, well, you know what? I'm on the Sony 85mm f1.8. Let's just open it up to 1.8. Put the auto ND on and see what that looks like. So I ended up doing that as well. And here's a side-by-side of the two different takes so you can see how the sunlight does affect the footage and how the auto ND can be very helpful on a video shoot, even if you're shooting inside and you've got sunlight coming in through windows affecting your shot. In hindsight, I could have set up a portable aperture f7 light, which I had in my camera bag. However, the light wasn't 100% necessary for this shot and I got what I needed for this video. Amy was also lapelled up with a Sony wireless microphone as well, and that was another reason why I used the Sony FX6, because it has those built-in XLR audio inputs as well. And also because the FX6 has 4 channels of audio, I was also able to set up some safety tracks for the wireless lapel as well. Just in case Amy spoke just a little bit too loud, I'd still have a safety track that was recorded at a lower level to have unclipped audio. Overall, I was really happy with how the a7S III and the FX6 worked together for this project. Having the small form factor for B-roll with the a7S III was really helpful, and also being able to touch the screen to track different objects and get autofocus was really handy too. And then also having the FX6 there as another camera to set up on the tripod and be able to get that piece to camera was really helpful. And also having that auto ND in the FX6 really did help with those changing lighting conditions, even though I was shooting inside. And that's the video. Hopefully you found this helpful, and if you did, please give it a like, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel for more videos on video creation in the future.